What is up, guys? It's your boy Falcon back again, and today we're working on a 2003 Infiniti G35. We have two check engine light codes to fix today, which is basically the knock sensor and the camshaft sensor on bank 1, which is going to be passenger side. So if you need to do this on your vehicle, either one of the two, stay tuned. Codes are P0340 or P0328. One camshaft sensor and the knock sensor is going to be under the intake. So first thing we got to do is remove this intake. Here it is. So first we got to take off this plastic cover here. I think it's a bunch of 10mm nuts here and screws down here. So I'm going to take this cover off real quick and then we'll go from there. Alright, so here we are with that cover removed. Next thing we need to move, it's going to be this plastic tube that goes to the air filter right here. So we need to remove it. Probably gonna undo this one right here and remove this piece right here. 10mm bolt there. Remove this vacuum line here and this one here. That way I can move this out. Now this one looks like it's already cracked right there. So hopefully I can remove it very carefully without cracking it. So that is gonna be the next step. Okay, so I went ahead and removed the whole thing with the air box right here. It was just one 10mm bolt there. The fastener that was in the back. Remove that line out of the way. Like I said, there was a 10mm bolt here also, and there was just some plastic little fasteners here that I removed. Moved the whole thing out of the way. Now we need to take off all these 6 bolts right here to take off this upper part. This one splits into like, this is like the bottom part, the top part, and then the bottom part, and then we gotta take off the bottom. But inside here, there's gonna be like 6 bolts that are gonna be right here running through the middle. So to get to those, we need to take off this top part. So first off, we need to remove this line here. Anything that's going to be holding it here. I think this one here, we just remove those two, that the fuel line can just move out of the way. This one we got to move out of the way too. And I think we just remove this vacuum line there and maybe just a connector here. I don't think we're going to have to take off the actual throttle body. But let me start taking off all those bolts and then I'll let you guys know. Alright, so here we go. I removed the upper part of that intake right there. Here it is. The number of bolts on this one is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So you're going to have 18 bolts and I think, or 16 bolts and 2 nuts I believe that you need to take off. Also under the throttle body there's 2 vacuum lines. One goes right under it and one goes right there on the side. You can kind of see it, which is this one right here and this one right there. So now to remove this part of the intake, we need to undo these 6 bolts here. So this top part is gonna come off. I think we got one more bolt here and we should have another one right here in the back. So now I need to remove this line here. This is vacuum line. This bracket is probably gonna be on my way. What else? Anything that I see that is gonna hold it down, and then that should be everything. Now this part right here is considered the upper intake, but the upper intake is divided into 2 pieces. So now we're gonna remove this. We're gonna put this in the trunk and then gonna remove that so we can get to the lower part of the intake. The lower part of the intake is what has the injectors and everything else. We did remove the lower part of the upper intake. There it goes. It was only those 6 bolts and the 2 nuts like I said. So the nuts is gonna go here and back there, and then the 6 bolts go here. Of course I'm gonna replace this gasket. This gasket I'm going to replace too. It comes together with, looks like all this is one piece. Like the gasket runs around and it goes under here, so you can tighten this up to here. So we're going to replace that too. So now we need to remove this part here. The fuel line is going to stay here. All we got to do is disconnect the lines, the electronic lines for the fuel injectors here. This line stays here, right there. This one stays here. We have 2 options. We can either disconnect it from here, 2 10mm bolts, and pull it off, and then just undo all these connectors here, and then undo those bolts on the bottom. There's one there, one nut there, one nut there, and like that back and forth. Or we can undo it from here. So probably the best choice is going to be right here, 2 10mm bolts. Move this out of the way. Fuel is going to come out, so be careful with that. Fuel is going to come out, so remove that. All these connectors, and now I'm going to start tackling this lower part of the intake so I can remove it to get to the knock sensor. The knock sensor, you can kind of see it from in here, just bad camera angle, but you can see it from in there. But if you want to remove it, you need to take off this lower part of the intake. Also, I'm going to replace the harness. There's a harness that goes from that knock sensor back there to the main harness, so I'm gonna try to replace that too. I'm having issues finding it in town. I know I can buy it on Amazon, on eBay for like 10-15 bucks, but I need it today. So once I take it off, hopefully there's like part numbers and stuff like that. I can call Infinity and see if they have one in stock, or can order one for tomorrow, because if I order it on eBay or Amazon, it's gonna be like 5-6 days. So we'll see if I can find one. But now, like I said, I'll remove the fuel line from back there, all those connectors, and then all those bolts that go around it. I think they're like 12mm right there. So that's my next step. I haven't mentioned it, but the camshaft position sensor that I'm going to replace, it's back here. It's that green connector back there. You see, there it goes, that green connector. You can probably get to it without removing the whole intake or anything like that. Back there, you probably need to remove like this harness out of the way. You can probably get to it, but since I'm already going to be doing all this stuff, that's why I'm going to do that at the end. But that camshaft position sensor, that's the one back there. This is bank 1 and that's bank 2. Alright, so here it is. Lower part of the intake is removed. There it is right there. Of course, I'm going to replace those gaskets also. But that is the knock sensor down here, right there, right in the middle. So this is the harness I'm going to replace as well. I'm going to see where it goes and disconnect it from over there. I'll show it to you guys in a second. And then since I'm going to spend maybe a day or two finding it, or hopefully just today, I am going to cover up this intake holes. That way make sure there's no trash that gets in there while I'm in there. This one, there is some harness back here. I can just probably undo that 110mm bolt and move this out of the way so I can completely remove it and clean it out. As far as this one, I didn't take out the fuel lines, but I did remove the bolts just so I can have a little bit of wiggle room, so I can get the bolt in here through here to take off this nut. So just to give me enough room, enough movement on this fuel line here to remove it. But now I'm gonna undo that harness in the back, undo the harness on the knock sensor, and take it out, see if I can find it. I'm currently on top of the engine, back here behind the engine, under that water line, way down here. There you guys can see it. There's this blue connector. That is the connector for the freaking harness of the knock sensor right here. So you got to get down here. If you want to remove the connector, undo it from way back here, disconnect it and pull it out. When I put it back, I'm just gonna put the connector like up here. I'm not gonna hide it way down there. As long as it's not touching anything hot, it should be okay. And then this is the camshaft sensor. I'm gonna go ahead and replace while I'm here. Push that thing in and just pull this thing out. There it goes, 10mm bolt right there. And let me go ahead and replace that. Like I said, back of the engine, passenger side. Here's the old cam sensor compared to the new cam sensor. That's the part number right there. Crank angle sensor right there. I guess it's remade like a upgraded version, because this one's metal and the other one's plastic, but there it is. That's the exact same one, same connector and everything. So now I'm gonna put it back there, the same thing with a 10mm bolt, and I'm gonna remove that harness from the knock sensor. Here we have the harness and the knock sensor. I can almost assure you that the problem is gonna be the harness itself and not the knock sensor, but we're gonna go ahead and replace them both. And unfortunately, there is no part number or anything here. So I'm gonna take this cable hopefully to the dealer. Hopefully we can find one. But that's the issue. So once I find one, if I do get a part number, I'll let you guys know. Alright, so here we are, update. A week later, I was able to get the harness, and let me show it to you. This is the harness here that we're gonna use. As you guys saw, the other one was all broken. This is the end that's gonna go into the knock sensor, and that's gonna go back there to the actual main harness. The dealers ordered me like 3-4 different ones, and every single one of them took like a day or two to come in. They were always the wrong one. So this last time that I went, the sales guy, the parts guy actually called one of the technicians in the back, and he came to the front. He saw what kind of harness I needed. He said, you know, I think there's a loose harness back there. So he went back there, he brought it out, it fit the knock sensor, so that is it. So I mean, they couldn't even get a part number for these harness. So they do have it, but the diagrams that they have on the system are really, really bad. So as far as the part number on this, they basically just gave me the one that they charge you for the one that they thought it was, even though it wasn't the right one. So I'm sorry I can't give you a part number for these harness, but I mean, just go and I guess deal with them like I did, and hopefully you can get the right harness. But there it is. Now to put everything back, the new knock sensor is gonna go back there, and we're gonna put the harness back there. I already got the new camshaft sensor, and now lower and upper intake are gonna go back on with brand new gaskets and everything. I will try to find a link, maybe to Amazon or something like that, a place that sells the harness and maybe the knock sensor, and I'll put it down there in the comment section. I like to buy everything from the dealer, that way I know I get the part that it is 100% sure, and I got somebody to go to, just in case it's the wrong part or anything like that. But I will do my best to find it on Amazon. If you want to get an aftermarket one, it'll be down there in the description and in the first comment. If not, just go straight to the dealer like I did. Alright guys, so that is it. That is how you replace the knock sensor on that 03 Infiniti G35. I really hope this video helps somebody out. Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell for me, share the channel. I will catch you guys on my next video. Thank you for watching, and you guys have yourselves a great day.